following is a compilation from the very first fish tank review episode 1 to episode 10. I've come to notice and realize that many of you are asking for longer FTRs past the hour mark, and some of you like to play FTRs in the background while you do your water changes or other fishy related tasks. And some just like to put it on, kick back and relax, maybe enjoy a snack. So hopefully this will be satisfying some of those requests and suggestions. FTRs have come a long way along with this channel, and it's thanks to every one of you. So I hope you enjoy it. Comment below if you want to see more compilations like this.
My name is Chris and you're watching Fish for Thought. This video is going to be my first fish tank review, and for this I'm going to pick some bad tanks and some good tanks and review them and give them a rating and see what happens. Let's go.
Whew, so the first tank here looks pretty darn sad. I mean, that looks like potentially a really beautiful betta, and it's being held up in this little dinky tank. Can't even call it a tank really, and I feel like that's like an onion plant or something. I don't know if that's necessarily good to put with the fish, but the caption is, oddly enough, their son hasn't shown any interest in fish abuse. The poster is trying to sell it on Craigslist, and they're saying, we originally bought the fish for our son, however he has not shown any interest. We are looking to provide him a good home. Comes with bowl, plant, and food. Hopefully someone does buy this from them and teach them the right way to take care of a betta and to spell it properly. Alright, because this is like basically animal abuse, I'm gonna rate it 0 out of 5. We're starting this video off with a 0 out of 5. Here's just an absolute gem. We got a turtle tank. It was a fish tank, but they put turtles in it, and they're doing it in like this murky, disgusting environment. I'm actually not sure if they're doing it or if the owner just piled them together like that and made it look like they were doing it, but 2 out of 5. You know why I'm not gonna buy it? Because there's no pump. How could I buy this tank when there's no pump? I'm not gonna go out and get an extra pump. 0 out of 10. A good old algae, greener than my lawn fish tank. I guess maybe this is the fish? Yep, probably the best tank we've seen so far, which is very sad. So I'm gonna give it a relative 4 out of 5. Okay, alright. This is a 10-gallon tank, and he's got 2 blood parrot cichlids in here. My African cichlids are loving it, and the pieces look excellent. Whoa. They're not even African cichlids. 0 out of 500. Alright, that's pretty cool. Wait a second. What is that? What is 0 out of 500? Ooh, that's a good looking Bolivian ram just waiting for its food, waiting to be fed. Also good looking tank. The water's pretty clear. It's got some nice decor, got some live plants in the background. Got a little bit of gunk down here though, but that's probably because of the nutrient rich substrate. Dang, this is easily a 4 out of 5. Next up we got these gangsta fish. Looks like maybe balloon platies or something like that. They're like, yeah, what you looking at, boy? What you looking at? Keep walking. Keep walking, son. If you know what's good, y'all gotta move. 3.5 out of 5. Points off for gang violence. Behold, the coolie snail. Half snail, half coolie loach. 10 out of 10 for the Anubis plant.
How's everyone doing? My name is Chris and you're watching Fish for Thought. Today we're doing another fish tank review, so let's get right into it.
Alright, so our first tank here, this koi pond at a local taekwondo studio. Can't even see the poor fish. Well, you know what? It is a pond, and to my knowledge, the last pond I've seen did look something like this, I gotta say. And there's a proverb in Chinese where it's something like, if the water is clean, then there's actually no fish, meaning there's like no nutrients in the water. So this is actually not that far off. I mean, it is a taekwondo studio. They probably know this proverb. So you know what? 5 out of 5 for sticking to tradition. Our second tank, it's just labeled with bloody hell. And I can see why. I mean, I think there's around 3 goldfish in there and 1 angelfish. This guy's taking it to a whole nother level. There's also some sort of infrared sort of thing going on. Like, is he putting a laser beam on these guys as if they're not going to die fast enough? He's gonna blast them with a laser beam as well. But you know what? Maybe this is just who am I kidding? This is 0 out of 5. Come on. So the fish is half of this boy's size. Like, half of this boy is that fish. How would he like it if that's all the space that he got to live for his whole life? Who in their right mind would look at that and be like, that fish is happy. That fish is living a great life. 5 out of a possible 5 for animal abuse. 200-gallon tank from a popular Instagram page. Well, that's amazing because this tank has more fish than my local aquarium does. Honestly though, the color scheme and the species choice of fish, they all seem to go together, so aesthetically pretty pleasing. However, this is animal abuse, so 5 out of 5 out of the possible 5 for animal abuse. Now, this is an interesting tank. I like how the caption is like, this tank has cloudy water, as if this is totally just like any other tank I've ever seen in my life. It's like, oh, this tank is a regular tank, except it's got cloudy water. At first I was like, it's probably just new tank syndrome, you know? This guy definitely doesn't know about new tank syndrome and that there's a explosion of colony of bacteria that happens. But then I considered that this tank might not have a filter. It kind of looks like a cooking pot, but so if it doesn't have a filter, it fails as a fish tank. I mean, there's goldfish in there and they look like baby koi. And it also doesn't really function as furniture either, because that lid looks like it is not flat. And if you put a mug on it or anything, it's just gonna slide right off. So 0 out of 5 for bad furniture. My cousin's tank. In what world is that a tank? That's like saying this is a tank. It just looks like your cousin picked the closest Tupperware container that he can find and plopped his new pet fish into it and called it a tank. Call it a day, really. 0 out of 5 tanks. Alright, looks like we got our scam of the week going over here. Offer I can't refuse. Just got a brand new 10-gallon for half of this. I wouldn't be surprised. I agree with you, dude. I mean, the caption says it's a 3-gallon fish tank and accessories. Right off the bat, I don't think that thing is 3 gallons, okay? I know 3 gallons and that thing don't look like 3 gallons. I mean, it's got some decor. The gravel is an interesting choice. I gotta say, I'm not sure if I'm down with the red. I mean, for $100, you can get your hands on half a football, some wires, some freaking cinnamon heart candy, and a pirate ship. I mean, seems worth it. Yep. 1 out of 6. Found this tank. I'll rescue them. Best part, she said, I don't have to clean the tank because the snail and the sucker mouth do it. Does that tank look clean to you? Alright, first of all, lady, the snail and the sucker mouth clean the algae, but they're not going to eat the poop of everything in there. If anything, the snail and the sucker mouth create more poop than they actually clean the tank. So honestly, like, what are you talking about? Can you do some research before you like invest in other things that are living? Now, yeah, she's right. The snail and the sucker mouth have been cleaning her tank because I don't see much algae, but who knows just how much ammonia is built up in that tank. I don't even think it's a 10-gallon. I think it's like a 5-gallon, and it's got 2 goldfish in it, 2 quote-unquote tiny frogs, which they don't really stay tiny, like fully aquatic claw frogs. They don't stay that small. The snail does look pretty big already. And then a suckerfish, which by all means it could be a pleco, so like yikes. But yeah, thanks for rescuing this tank. 5 out of 5 for the rescue. Alright, this tank, of course there's a betta. I love the sassy little caption there. So this tank, I mean, the betta does look like it's got more space than the usual tank that people put bettas in, so that's good. I mean, lose the seahorse, obviously. But also, I think the main thing here is that lucky bamboo, I mean, depending on where you get it, it can actually secrete toxins into the water. I guess if the bamboo wasn't there, 4 out of 5 for giving the betta above average room for what people usually give betta. betta, but a 0 out of 5 because in reality, the betta is going to die. Found this at my local Walmart. Please do not put us with other fish. We are sick and working on, I think that's gonna say getting better, or getting well. I hate to break it to you, bud, but those fish are never going to get well. This is not a quarantine setup, this is a graveyard. They're just going to die in there. There's no filter. I mean, I think there's a lid on there, so there's really no air. But you know what? Good on you, Walmart. I mean, you're trying, you know, to like set up some sort of quarantine, so good effort.
How's it going, everyone? Welcome to another fish tank review. My name is Chris and you're watching Fish for Thought. This time I'm going to start on a positive note because last time y'all were letting me know that, Chris, you got to put some positive fish in there, like review some good ones as well, man. And I heard you guys loud and clear, so let's get started.
Alright, we're starting off again with a pond. Now, this is a video and I watched it and it's basically showing the same sort of scenario here. Now, this pond is definitely more superior because you can actually see the fish and you can even see the bottom of the pond. It's probably got really strong filtration and it's probably very well maintained. It's even got live plants, even with the goldfish, and people do know that goldfish tend to not enjoy eating anubias, although they eat like every other plant they can get their mouths on. I'm not a really big goldfish fan. I've never really enjoyed keeping goldfish, although of course I have as a child. But you just gotta look at that face. Like, you see that face and it doesn't matter if you like fish or if you like goldfish, you're gonna like that face. Look at how cute that is. He's so gentle too, just letting his buddy ride on his head like that. I love it and I'm rating it 5 out of 5. This next one is also a very heavy hitter. I mean, look at that. It says 180 liter aquascape. 180 liter, not really sure how big that is. Looks to be like 40 or 50 gallons. But anyway, the scape is absolutely amazing. There's probably more fish in here than meets the eye right now, but they're probably just hiding in that lush greenery. I don't see any ditherfish. I would probably stock this tank a little bit more, but I do also prefer just showing off the plants and having a really small bio load, which is what they have here. I wouldn't be surprised if they never need to gravel vac at all. I think that's an apistogramma and it's showing off wild colors. It stands out even when the camera is so far away. If the last tank or pond got 5 out of 5, I gotta rate this one 5 out of 5. Now this one's interesting. I mean, if you're judging by the tank, it's got a bit of spot algae. It's probably not the best maintained tank there is, but it's got some Vallisneria that looks pretty green. There's some floating on top or being left to grow to fill the top of the tank, which is pretty cool in my opinion. But what's interesting here is the fish that's doing this behavior. It's one of the loaches, and apparently, so if you have a weak heart, do not keep loaches. They do things like this just to mess with you, I swear. This is so cute and funny. This loach is pretending to be dead and it's doing a pretty good job of that. If this photo was captioned, "My loach died," I would just believe that that's a dead loach. I've never personally experienced this behavior. I don't keep many loaches in my time, and I can't imagine this to be advantage for survival, at least in a fish tank, because if he's dead, he has a chance of being scooped or just not being fed. I'm not sure what he's trying to do here except to piss the owner off. But I'm gonna rate it 4.5 out of 5 for the comedy and the Vallisneria. And of course 0.5 off because of all the spot algae that's just left on the glass. 3-month progress, CO2 or dosing and canister filter was added. That's pretty hardcore, pretty awesome. I'm not sure if the CO2 is a must-have to attain this progress, but it's a very interesting concept. It's not a very technical scape, I would say. You got the right kind of wood in the centerpiece, and then you're planting your taller plants like the Rotella, or I think it's Ludwigia, all around the tank really, maybe in all 4 corners and scattered throughout a little bit more. So it's not the conventional scape, and this is what makes it very interesting. It's kind of like a forest clearing where you see this centerpiece wood. It's a very creative aquascape. I don't see this every day, and you see the rainbow shark, definitely a well-fed guy, not overfed, just well-fed and on some high-quality stuff. I mean, look at those colors. This tank is nothing if not creative and colorful. I'm giving this a 4.5 out of 5. Alright, this is very neat. The title is Gang Gang. Yeah, this is definitely like a Gucci Gang type of like fluval gang up, sort of shoot 'em up tank scenario here. Actually, I'm not so sure if all three of these are fluval products or even if any of them are. I'm pretty sure the long one in the left is the fluval spec, I think. Not really fluent in my fluval products. Don't really got the funds for that, you know. Maybe if they sponsor me, haha, nice joke. But what's interesting here, well, first off, the aquascapes are quite nice. I think my favorite will have to be the one on the very right there with the rocks. That looks like a lot of time went into it for a nano tank. But what's interesting is that I don't really see any fish at all. So on the far left, I would suggest definitely going with a little school of galaxies. In the middle, I'm going to say some sort of shrimp. I'm leaning towards a mono shrimp. In the right tank, I'm not really sure, haven't made my mind up for that, but I would probably go with a small group of Ember Tetras. Let me know what you guys think about these three tanks. Looks like a really clean beta tank, and it's not too small for a beta as well, which I love. Beta looks healthy, looks happy, the fins are all nice and open. Nice use of live plants in the water, and I think that's probably fake plants hanging out up top. Looks like some cryptocorean to the right. In the center left, there's a Anubias, and then there's, I think, Java Fern on, might be a piece of log. The only thing is the Anubias might be buried in the substrate, and we all know that's a big no-no. We should not be burying the rhizome. The rhizome should always be out of the substrate and root itself into the substrate. So hopefully the rhizome is not covered, or else it'll start to rot. Overall, 4 out of 5 for this tank.
Now these next few tanks are sent to me by one of my viewers, Johnny's Papa, and he says that these photos were taken from some of the local ads in his area that people were trying to sell these tanks.
Fish with extra small tank with 6 fish. I think my eyes can see that with my eyes. Yeah, this is classic. I don't know what extra small means, but this tank don't look anything bigger than maybe 5 gallons. And yet it's got Oscars and goldfish, probably some comet goldfish in there as well. I was presented with a better photo of the fauna in here. Yeah, it's confirmed there's 2 Oscars and at least 4 goldfish in here. I mean, there's no winning this argument, guys. Like, if this guy's gonna say like, oh, I didn't know these fish were gonna get bigger or they can't live in here, well, do your research before you buy something. You wouldn't go out and get a dog and then be like, oh, I don't know how to take care of a dog, or I didn't know this dog was going to get massive. Like, you wouldn't just buy a chow chow out of the blue without knowing what you're getting yourself into. And if this guy's like, oh yeah, I was just keeping these because I knew they were going to get big, but they're not big yet, so I'm keeping them in this small tank. Well, that really doesn't work either, because if you equate that to a dog again, you're gonna raise a puppy and then just sell it and expect to be selling it sometime when it grows bigger? Like, what are you doing? Maybe this guy's adopted and he likes to make everything else in his life experience being adopted. 0 adoptions out of 5. Wow, I don't know where to begin. I was initially shocked that maybe they're keeping freshwater fish with saltwater fish. I saw the, I think it's a damselfish in the back. Pardon me, I don't know my saltwater. But yeah, these guys are iridescent sharks and bala sharks, and they need really long, big aquariums. They're still growing and maxing out. That iridescent shark there might not be able to even turn properly to the other side if it wanted to. That's how small this tank is. And you can see just on the filter, like, that is nasty. You've got a dead iridescent shark just hanging out. They're putting this tank up for purchase, I'm guessing. Why wouldn't you take the dead fish out at least? Number 1 sales tactic. Leave the dead fish in there all times. Oh, wait a second, there's another fish in there. Oh, I didn't even see that. I thought it was like a piece of rock. No, but that's another fish. That looks like an albino shark. This is just very sad. That fish right there, that fish is smart. He going up to heaven real quick. He knows, like, there's no redemption for this. 5 out of 5 fish go to heaven. Man, this fish tank looks like my little sister's 2-gallon fish tank that she's keeping a betta in. You got a parrot cichlid, you got like 2 types of Oscars, and I didn't notice this before again, but that thing, yeah, that's a pleco. That's a frickin' pleco. I feel like if I rate this one, I can't do it justice with a 0. Actually, thinking about this more, this tank represents a good message that all races, no matter what color, white, black, Asian, that they should all get along, you know? Segregation is dead. Come together, guys. fish aquarium. Aquarium and lots of fishes. That's great. I can see that. You have a lot of fishes. Gained Girami pear. Only gained Girami pear for sale. Female full-size black eye age 3.5 years almost. Male red eye age 2 years almost. Beautiful healthy pair. Beautiful description, really. Honestly, why is there a direct and positive correlation between someone's bad spelling and their bad fish care? It's like they go hand in hand. Blue line shark. Wow, it's been a while since I've heard someone call it a blue line shark. Nowadays it's just called iridescent shark. Looks like you've got 4 of them and a pleco in the back as well. More than 1 foot, 7 years age. Man, I feel for these fish. I mean, props to them for living in that for 7 years. Yeah, just all the power to you, fish. Just feels bad that you had to live in that for 7 whole years. Catfish pair 1 feet. Wait, so 1 feet. That means it's 2. Wait, what? Okay, anyways, are they each 1 foot, or are they both plus together they become one foot? I'm so confused at this point. This guy's like, let me out of here. All right, let's move on to our actual fish tank review here. I got distracted by those horrible tanks. Okay, celebrated making it through my probation period. Hey, congratulations, man. And having a steady income by getting an aquarium. Fish coming soon. It's a very good decision on you to celebrate with an aquarium. That's super wholesome. Yeah, get into the hobby with that full-time job so you can fund your hobby. I mean, if you know me, you know that I'm not on board with that octopus. I do hope you stock this tank with some interesting fish. Oh, that is so cute. This is Pandora. When we found her, she was in deplorable conditions with HITH disease. Not sure what that is. And she absolutely wouldn't come out for hiding for weeks. Here she is almost 6 months later. She looks so happy. Looks like some sort of parrot cichlid, and it's got a big filter in the back. This is definitely a top-notch tank, doing wonders for fish like Pandora. 5 out of 5 for being wholesome. Oh, the hidden gem of the hobby. Now we got a shell dweller species here. Not really familiar with all the different species, but it's definitely a shell-dwelling cichlid of some sort. All shell-dwelling tanks deserve 5 out of 5 because the elaborate planning that goes into it and the sourcing of the fish. All props to the owners, they know what they're doing. Fantastic fish, fantastic tank. Not satisfied with my arrangement, want to rearrange everything. Anyone have any ideas for me to make this look nicer? First of all, try to use punctuation next time, sort out your ideas a little bit more clearly. But yeah, your tank looks great right now. Obviously, I'm gonna want to take out that Asian cat thing. I mean, you're not trying to make a supermarket theme, so let's get rid of that, alright? And then clear some of the plants in the back, some of the plants in the middle. Plop a nice mopani or some sort of driftwood in there right in the middle, or maybe dragonstone, okostone. Plant the rest of the plants around that centerpiece and we're talking. For now though, I'm giving a 4.5 out of 5 just because of that, you know. Alright, what do we got here? Some gang violence, some possible gang action going on. These Corey's up to no good. I'm just kidding, guys. But you know how I feel about gang violence. Don't like it. However, these pygmy quarries are just the cutest and they're just relaxing on this rock. I really like this. This is definitely 5 out of 5. I don't care what the rest of the tank looks like. This is so cute. And then we got that betta that makes it even better. He's just very curious about the whole thing. He's not really aggressive. You don't see him flaring too much. And I think this is ideal for a betta, to not leave him alone, to give him some companions so that they're not bored and alone all the time. And especially if the betta doesn't have a very aggressive attitude. But yeah, stay away from gang violence. Here we have no doubt a big school of glass cats right in the back there. What, you guys don't see them? Yeah, me neither. I don't see anything. Brand spanking new 29 gallon. So new it's got pretty much nothing in it. Not my first choice of substrate, but hey man, you do you. This would look pretty nice if it's planted out with some real plants that grow pretty tall. It'll probably look like a forest clearing, and the centerpiece, beautiful little centerpiece wood you got there already. Giving it a 4 out of 5. It's probably a contender for 5 out of 5 in the future, and depends on what you're stocking it with as well. Alright, what fish is this? Elasoma okefenoki. Did I say that right, guys? What kind of fish is this? It sounds amazing. It sounds like it's from like Star Wars, and it looks like it's from Star Wars, really. It's got this like unique hint of blue. That's not a cichlid, is it? Some sort of like pumpkin seed or something? Maybe it's like some invasive species. In the meantime, tank looks gorgeous, obviously. 5 out of 5. Alright, looks like we're ending it off on a high note here. This is some Lake Malawi cichlids, some Mabunas. Very colorful. The guy is playing with some camera settings, and it's paying off. I mean, look at it. Definitely some fast shutter speed with a good exposure, and probably turned the ISO on a little bit more, but the camera quality isn't very grainy. It's a little bit grainy, and there's a little bit of a blurring here and there, but he's caught all the fish at a very good time. They're mostly all looking up, and they're very colorful. The color scheme is amazing. I normally review, like planted tanks, but even though the plants are probably fake here, I mean, it's a classic Lake Malawi tank, so gotta give it up. 5 out of 5.
Hey guys, welcome back to Fish for Thought. I'm your host Chris, and today, you guessed it, we're doing another fish tank review. Let's get started.
Alright, so this was given to me by an anonymous source, Goldilocks in the bong. So I'm not very familiar with the whole bong situation. I know that's how you get high. I'm not sure if that means the temperature needs to increase in the bong, because then she's basically cooking her goldfish. If that fish is still alive, which I have my doubts, then it's totally getting high AF. But I mean, it just comes down to why. Why would you do this? I mean, I guess the only thing that's right about this whole picture is that it came from this subreddit. I'm just gonna rate this 0 out of 5, and we can move on. Okay guys, I'd like every one of you to meet Hank and Pete. I'm not sure which one's Hank and which one's Pete, but I'm gonna assume that Hank is this guy and Pete is the pleco. Pete the pleco. And then there's Willow Jean, which is the Blackmore goldfish. Hi guys, so glad to meet you. You're all gonna die very soon. No, that's pretty dark. I'm not sure what kind of fish that is. Reminds me of a silver dollar, maybe a gourami, and I'm not sure what kind of pleco that is, but regardless, the size probably won't matter because it won't reach adulthood or anywhere close. It's in a half-gallon fish bowl with another fish, okay? That fish is returning to, fishy heaven in the next few hours, so we're just gonna leave it at that. Blackmore goldfish, I can't, is that a Nutella container or like one of those Cheetos containers? Just what kind of plants are you planning to put in there when you have your gravel so thick that it covers pretty much half the tank? And I say the word tank very loosely here. I do have to say though, I can probably learn from your naming of the fish. These are pretty good names. However, I'm rating you 0 out of 5 because you're a bad person. Thank you, next. This next tank is sent to me by Sam Costens, one of my viewers, and he says this is around a 30 gallon, 33 gallon, and I actually really like it. I love this scape. I like how the wood is curled up on each end, and then there's, a plentiful amount of dragon oko stone. I think it looks quite natural like that. I enjoy the colors of the substrate and that wall. I think it's an artificial wall instead of a painting. I'm not sure. It could be a hang on the back sheet. And the plants are pretty simple. There's some Java ferns, Eulodia, Ludwigia, and perhaps some Anubias on the bottom, and they all look quite vibrant and nice. He's also mentioned that he's got some adopted or rescue fish in this tank, so that's pretty good on him. Looks like there's some guppies, some other life bearers, a group of neon tetras, and also some rumminos. The only thing that I'm not really on board with is that pleco. Now, I'm not sure how big that pleco is. I don't think it has maxed out yet, and I wouldn't really put I think it's a common pleco at this point, or maybe a sailfin. Either way, I wouldn't put either of those in a 30 gallon. I just don't think that's the best idea, and it's just some unnecessary bio load. You could easily have gotten a clown pleco or dwarf pleco of some sort. I was going to rate it 4.5 out of 5 because of the rescue and because of the scape is really nice, but I'm rating it 4 because of that pleco. Still a good score, 4 out of 5. Now this tank is at a local fish store. What stood out to me is that this tank really reminded me of my childhood. One of the first tanks that really wowed me when I visited my first ever local fish store that was like on the street where I lived. They had a massive tank, I think like something like 2,000 gallons, and they filled it to the brim with neon tetras. And that was an eye-opener scene for me, and I was hooked at that moment. And this really reminded me of it. Obviously the tank is pretty bare, it's just a showcase tank, and these fish are not going to be there to stay for long if business is any good. I could just sit there for hours being mesmerized by that. And not to mention there's like this lone rummy nose in there. I was gonna rate it 4 because of nostalgia, but I'm putting it down to a 3 because, you guessed it, this looks like gang violence. Keep it peaceful though. Alright, now I like to play a game. We have a recurring segment on the FTR show here. It's called How Many Goldfish and Angelfish Can You Fit? I think these are comets. Sorry guys, I don't know my goldfish that well, but man, they're such beautiful goldfish here. But they're stuck in this, I don't know, like 1-2 gallon tank with an angelfish. Now the last few episodes, I remember there was an angelfish in those tanks as well. I'm not sure what's up with putting big goldfish in bowls and putting an angelfish with it as well. Like, are there any local fish stores doing a 3-for-1 deal where you buy the goldfish and a free angelfish comes with it? If there is, stop, okay? Like, close yourself down. The sad thing about this is that there is a filter and the lights are really growing those live plants in the back, and I'm pretty impressed that, you know, the way the tank looks without these poor choices of fish in it would look pretty nice. You put a betta in there, wow. But instead, you know, screw the betta. We're gonna abuse some fish. Let's go. 1 out of 5. 1 for the potential that this fish tank might have in the future if the owner learns a thing or two about fish keeping. Guys, you gotta see this. This is amazing. To all those who told me I never grow up or make long-term commitments, well, look who's a dad now. Hashtag proud parent. This guy named his fish Julia and she died a week later. Oh dang man, proud parent. How you gonna say all this and then have your fish die only a week later? Oh my goodness. Okay, next. 0 out of 5, next. Now what's with cute goldfish in ponds? Is this the same picture as last time? Okay, maybe not, but the caption makes it, okay? The caption really makes it for me. What do you mean I can't eat snails? And then he's got this like cute little angry face. Oh, this is perfect. I can't see the tank, and it's probably not a tank, it's a pond. But I'm gonna rate it, you know, 4 out of 5 for the comedy and just how cute it is. Oh, this guy is a feisty little feller. Alright, this guy's got a 40-gallon tank filled with awesomeness. Those plants look so vibrant. There's a variety, and then there's this height difference going from the right side to the left side. And what I really love about this tank is the use of the different substrate. So you can see the black going to the white. I really like that, and somehow it just gives it a clean look, even though they're different colors. There's a huge variety of plants. There's, I think it's wisteria over there, tiger lotus in the middle. I'm blanking on what those really tall plants are, I'm not sure, but yeah, good use of the tiger lotus, keeping it low like that. There's some crypts in the front, I think Ludwigia, and some other plant that grows red, maybe Rotella indica, I'm not sure about that. Anyway, the only thing I would say here, and the only reason I'm rating it 4.5 out of 5 is because of the choice of stocking. I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't have a problem with, you know, the aggression level of this tank. I think everything's pretty mellow here. He's got like centerpiece fish that are working well with the rainbows and the glass cats and the tetras and Siamese algae eater, Corridoras. But I think, you know, it's just a lot to look at. You've got this beautiful tank. Why not do a species tank, or at least minimalize it down to 2 species that are in the forefront with a centerpiece fish and some bottom dwellers? But he's got way more going on than that, so it's not going to be a perfect score from me. Now actually, going from the tank before to this tank, it looks way simpler, and you can see the plants used are super simple. You've got just kabamba and then some elodia, which are like just really common plants. And then we have some, I think, Christmas moss and some carpeting plants, all planted on, I think it's fluvial stratum. So this is a pretty small tank, but the space is used in such a nice way, and the rocks really give it some dimension. There's that red plant right in the middle there, also giving it some texture and color. And then comes my favorite part, nicely stocked, very simple stocking options with the Endler's Life Bearer. They look super happy, and by stocking this tank with smaller fish and not that many fish, it creates the look that this tank is bigger than it actually is, and it creates this kind of almost cinematic dimension to it. And this is actually what really draws me into the aquarium hobby. I'm giving this tank my 5 out of 5. The use of all these simple things together making it such a elegant look.
Alright, who's ready for another fish tank review? Now for this time, I'm going to start off with a lot of the tanks that were sent to me by email from my subscribers. I won't be able to go through all of it, but I will be putting the ones I don't go through over here. I just want to do that to be able to showcase all the tanks that were sent to me, even though I don't have the chance to go over them. I do really appreciate everyone that took their time to send those tanks to me, and I do look over each one of them. And if you want your tank to be potentially reviewed by me, definitely send an email with your tank. It's in the description below. So without further ado, let's get started.
Now this first tank is sent to me by Moritz Zantek. I know a lot of people are not going to agree with the amount of goldfish you have in this tank. It doesn't seem like it fits the whole criteria for 1 goldfish per 10 gallons. However, I see that you have exceptionally strong filtration. That thing looks like it's just blowing out fumes. And I do like the aquascape. I like the use of the plants between the rocks and the wood. I like the light colored substrate. It's live plants, so it's right up my alley. Looks like a beautiful bow front. Starting off with a 4 out of 5. Good job. Now this next tank is sent to me by Chelsea. This is a tank at a senior's home that I think she volunteers at or works at. The whole premise of this tank is that it's showcasing a ecosystem, and it even has like a description of an ecosystem somewhere. And I mean, it looks quite interesting. I don't think it's necessarily overstocked, but I do see a few problems right off the bat. The substrate, I don't know if it's just dark colored or dirty. It seems a little bit dirty to me. I'm not sure if they are going ahead and doing water changes and vacuuming in there. Especially this picture over here looks a little bit muddy. Now there's real wood in there, real twigs. Not sure if that's been properly cleaned or not. Now some of the bigger issues here, I see a pleco and a cichlid, and if we go back to the first picture, then we see that there's goldfish. I'm not a big supporter of putting goldfish with these other tropical fish because the goldfish doesn't need a heater and these guys do need a heater. So like, what's going on with the temperature of the tank? Nobody knows. And I think my biggest issue overall is that they say it's an ecosystem. Now that's really misleading, and you know, a lot of kids come to visit their grandparents. They're probably going to be looking at this tank, and I can just imagine the parents. I know this because I worked in these situations before. I can just imagine the parents going like, trying to describe the ecosystem effect that's going on here. But truth be told, you never find goldfish naturally in an ecosystem. When you do, goldfish or koi or other carp, it's usually because of human disturbance, and it's an indicator that the natural processes are being disturbed and are not natural anymore. I know this might be a surprise, but goldfish are not native animals in your local pond or lake. Now, I'm not blaming Chelsea. She's the one who's bringing up this issue, so I applaud her for that. I'm rating this whole experience 2.5 out of 5. I think there's potential here, but it's lacking quite a bit. This lovely tank is sent to me by Dinesh Kumar. Now, he did not specifically tell me to rate it, so I'm not going to do that. He did ask me, however, on any suggestions I might have for aquascaping. I think he did a marvelous job here. I really like the balustrinaria covering the top. I do that too sometimes personally, and I really like the piece of wood there. A few things I would do differently is I would probably put a few more rocks, not necessarily the kind of rocks that he has already. I don't think those look that great. I would use some other kind of rock that looks better to me, like dragonstone. I would put a few more smaller plants into the foreground, maybe a little bit of carpet going on, cover the back a little bit more denser, and then get rid of the dirty looking moss on the wood itself, and then put some Anubias nana or Bucephalandra. I love the big angelfish right in the foreground. This tank is sent to me by Bashir Shir Mamad. Sorry if I'm not saying that correctly. I love the separated substrate. I can tell that it's a smaller tank, but you've done a gorgeous job here making everything look really clean and compact. The textures of the plants are really good. This is a very simple scape, but it works quite well. Can't wait for you to put some fish in there. And if you put goldfish in there, I'm going to flip out. 4.5 out of 5. Now this is from an anonymous source, and the email was asking me for help on how to cure, just dying plants. This is a hygrophila that is not doing so well. First of all, these plants can exhibit this behavior when transplanted to a new tank. They'll melt back and then come back up because the roots have all the nutrients for now. But from what I see, the tank might not be getting enough light. It might be receiving natural sunlight, but at this point, it's probably not enough. In the email, there was also this fertilizer by this Chinese company that looks really fishy. I wouldn't trust them. If you really want fertilizer, try to dirt your tank. You can get like $8 worth of a whole gardening potting mixture that's really cheap and really efficient. Make sure it's organic. Put that below your substrate. It will last for a long time and give you a lot of good nutrients. Also, hygrophila really does well with more liquid fertilizers, so definitely try that. But I think the main important thing is the light source. You want a strong light so that the hygrophila will not melt back as much as it can and also recover as fast as it can. Good luck. This is probably my favorite tank out of this whole video. I'm giving it a 5 out of 5 straight off the bat. The moment I saw this, it took me a while to analyze everything, and I don't know why I like it so much because really it's not hitting all the parameters that you think would work for me, but it's just so simple in like a complicated way, if that makes any sense. This tank was sent to me by William Kessler. William, you did a fantastic job. You're making me question what I like and what I don't like about aquarium aquascapes. Now he's obviously done some customization with his filter, and I personally think it really gives it a nice touch. The use of Anubias and simply just leaving it in the pot really matches what is going on outside of the tank as well, the potted plant, and also the viney plant that's growing out of the aquarium just by itself. I love the big roots of that plant as well. And then the Marimo moss balls really makes it for me. They look really cute. And then the stocking choice, very simple, just a group of guppies doing their thing. This one's from Noah Doubts. Really nice tank, really nice fish. I see you're trying to get some carpeting action going. The light really sets a moody atmosphere. And then the very bushy, I think that's Java moss, really makes it for me. If I was that betta, I would be spending all my time napping and relaxing in that bed of Java moss. 4 out of 5, great job. Now this gem is from Reddit. If you guys haven't heard of the cheese challenge, it's usually done with your dog or your cat where someone's just throwing a piece of sliced Kraft single cheese on their faces and then they have this very hilarious reaction to it. Now if the slice of cheese is inside the water, that's a whole different story. This is a whole different video then, alright? But it's humorous, I guess. And actually the fish's reaction is kind of funny too. It's like, what's going on? What is that? Can I eat that? What is that? And also some unexpected humor, the word challenge. That is an awesome way to spell it. 4 out of 5 on the humor. This one is sent to me by another subscriber, Cassandra Ortiz. This was posted at her local offer up. This is an offer. Who can refuse 10 goldfish in a 10-gallon? I guess the rule is bent to 1 gallon per 1 goldfish. Why do people always do this? I mean, these goldfish will die in less than 2 weeks. And whoever buys it, well, I hope they learn that that's not how you do it. This one's getting a 0 out of 5 for me. Now, okay, if you've been watching my videos, you've noticed that I joke about like people using Cheez-Its containers and Nutella containers to have a fish tank for their fish. But it's not a joke anymore, it's true. It's become reality. Call me a prophet. I love how it says dark chocolate, and that's basically what this fish is. At least the guy is sticking to the theme. But you know what? If I'm being honest, I think this container is bigger than a lot of containers I've reviewed, and that's a really sad thing. There needs to be a movement for like changing small tank culture for betta fish, and probably goldfish as well. I'm giving it a 1 out of 5 because the goldfish got like at least 1 upgrade from the last tank it was in. Thank you, Andes, for preaching pure truth. So I'm assuming that Andes is a pet store or fish store, and I just love this sign. This tank is not suitable for bettas because, and you got the reasons. And then on the bottom, good alternatives for this tank. So good on you, Andy's Fish Store. You're not just trying to make money off of people who aren't aware. I also would like to thank Andy's for preaching pure truth as well. Good job, Andy's. 5 out of 5 for justice. Complete disaster. Now whatever that thing is, that's enough to give this tank 0 out of 5. This tank was sent to me by Brandon White. Now this is not Brandon's tank, it's just a tank he found that he thought was really bad, and he's definitely right, this is a horrible tank. Now I don't really have anything against putting your fish in a tub if conditions are right, but this tub has no filter and it's super small for the amount of goldfish in here. And those plants are fake as well. And come on, just look at that thing. Like, who thought this was good? And how did you come up with this many fish? Maybe this was a birthday present for a 20-year-old? There's like 20 fish in there. We're starting off with a -5 out of 5. I mean, thanks Brandon for bringing this to light, but also like, thanks a lot, Brandon. This tank was sent to me by Jonas Fauch. The main thing I love about this tank is the big healthy Anubias plant, looking very vibrant, algae-free, lots of leaves, growing pretty well. Now there are some fake decor in this tank, but I've seen much worse. And all in all, pretty good tank. It might be a little bit overstocked, but everyone looks pretty happy. The male betta is not even flaring. Good job, Jonas, 3.5 out of 5. This is an interesting tank sent to me by Rudra Karp. Now this is the width view of the tank instead of the length. I rarely see this in tanks that are being displayed. I see it in maybe breeder tanks or like at the fish store, but very rarely is it aquascaped to the perspective of the width, which is very interesting. I like to see some fish in there so I can see exactly how the depth plays a role in this. So there's live plants, there's a little piece of wood there, the substrate looks pretty nutritious. All in all, pretty nice tank. 3.5 out of 5. This one's sent to me by Ludwig Paquier, or maybe it's Ludwig Paquier, I don't know, maybe you're French. I'm sorry for mispronouncing your name. But that fish looks pregnant AF. Very, very pregnant, about to burst any second now. Congratulations on your grandchildren. There's a little bit of algae here and there, could be a little cleaner, but the live plants are pretty nice. The wood piece is gorgeous, and you can't go wrong with fluvostratum substrate. Now, look out for that Anubias back there. Take care of it, all right? Besides the fish, he says he's got 2 bamboo shrimp. This is one of them. Love these guys. They're super neat, and they keep the water ultra clean. All in all, 3.75 out of 5. This is a tank sent to me by Mackenzie Dixon. Now, you're pretty brave for sending this tank to me. If you know me, I'm not going to ever go past a 3 out of 5 for, artificial decor, and this is really artificial. There's a lot of bright colors here and there. But what I do like about this tank is that it's got a filter, it's got a heater, it's even got an air stone to give that one betta really maximum dissolved oxygen and aeration in the water. That betta is living the life. So I do appreciate you doing the best for this betta. But like I said, I'm not gonna go past 3 out of 5. And you did get my maximum for a artificially decorated tank. So good job. Now this tank, nice carpeting, very nice hardscape. The betta looks great as well. It's accompanied by some other little fish and corridoras. Fluvostratum substrate again. Nice plants all around this tank. It was sent to me by Fatchery Sudiar. One thing I like to point out is that the rock on this side, it doesn't really look like it's part of the tank. It looks very out of place. So if you can get another rock that kind of looks like what you already have, that would be superb. But yeah, this is getting my 4.5 out of 5. This tank is sent to me by Betta Aqua. 15-gallon low-tech planted betta tank with my betta boy called Burrito. Hey, nice name. No gang violence. All right, that's what I like to see. This is a pretty simple tank. I like the substrate color, and I like that you've given the betta some places to hide, like that little hole over there. The plants in the center are also really nice. Just watch out that your Anubias, the rhizome is not being covered, just in case you didn't know that. 4 out of 5. Good job. Next one from Mark Wallace from Toronto. What's up, fellow Canadian? Recently entered the hobby and already starting off with a 45-gallon. Good job, you're doing it right. Now the bioload in this tank is pretty much what I like. It's a little bit understocked, which is just perfect for me. 4 out of 5. Good job, eh? Now this is the last tank I'm going to review for my subscriber submissions, and right when I saw this tank, my breath just got taken away. It looks absolutely stunning. It's hitting all the factors for me. I mean, look at the color difference, color contrast, and the texture contrast, and then the clean substrate. On top of that is a species tank. I think they're mostly cardinotetras. There might be a few neons in there, I'm not sure. Sent to me by William Stalins. Congratulations, William, you getting my 5 out of 5, and you're probably 5 out of 5 on everyone else's list. Alright, no FTR is complete without going to Reddit for some mishaps. Found on FB, and commenters were more focused on how lucky the poor fish was after falling off the counter. Now, I'm not going to disregard the amount of luck this fish had. Obviously, it's in a fishbowl that sucks for it, but I mean,
it survived another day in there. The fishbowl fell somehow and managed to land in a way where everything, even the water, is just captured. The fish looks fine, might be a little traumatized, but it's still right side up. And even the substrate in there is pretty much intact. Yeah, this is one lucky Blackmore goldfish. He could have died right there and then. Now hopefully this owner realizes this is karma for putting a goldfish in a fishbowl and learns how to properly take care of a goldfish. If not, well, that water is seeping into that hardwood flooring, and I know how much damage that amount of water can do permanently to the wood. So good luck to you, good sir. Saw this on Wish and it blew my mind. It's blowing my mind as well. It would actually probably work if it was bigger, and also if you put a betta in there, a small betta, instead of a goldfish. It's a very cool concept. Wait, is that a ghost fish in there? Like, why is the opacity so weird? I can see through it. It's like warning everyone, like, don't get this tank. You'll kill all of us. Yikes. I mean, who's on the advertising team to put a ghost fish in here? Maybe the advertising team's trying to put in an Easter egg in there, or like some secret message like, don't get this tank or else this fish is going to die. Look, it's already dead. That's the ghost. Yet another concept, but this one's actually like a crappy concept. I don't even know what's going on here. What is it hanging off of? Just like a weird wall? Like, what kind of wall is that? I've never seen that in my life. And why is it such a weird globe shape? Is it supposed to signify a raindrop? Because that's how big it is, like a raindrop size. I mean, it's one thing to spend your money to buy a fish every like 2 days, because that's how long this fish is going to last. Doesn't it also do a number on your humanity to know that a life is dying every few days that's in your care, just because you want to match some crappy aesthetic that looks like a pimple on your wall? Yeah, our crappy design, I agree. Damn. Kill 2 species with 1 tank or pot. Ah, great. I don't know how it's killing the aloe, but I know definitely the tiger barbs are gonna die. I mean, they're hardy fish, but they're not that hardy. How is there a school of tiger barbs in there? This is crazy. I mean, I can maybe understand if it's a betta, but it's a school of tiger barbs. And we're going away from goldfish, aren't we? We're just upgrading now. Humanity has reached another level. We're gonna put a schooling fish that needs like 20 gallons into this 0.05 gallon. Let's keep moving before I go crazy. Okay, I'm gonna go crazy. This fish was only put in the bowl for the picture, but it sends a bad message, note, to new fish keepers on IG. Yeah, I mean, it's not as bad because I know this fish is going back to an awesome place. I mean, it looks breeder quality, so the photographer's just doing this to get a nice shot. And it is a nice shot, I mean, I can't disagree with that. But putting this fish in a fishbowl is going to make everyone think it's okay again. All the people who aren't aware that they just got their ignorance replenished. I hate to end it here, but yeah, good looking fish though, can't argue.
So we got the late Takashi Amano, who is probably the best aquascaper in the world. And then we have YouTube channels like ADU Aquascaping and Serpa Design. And then we got this guy. Most of you don't even recognize that this is an aquascape, and you're probably not familiar with the technique. That's how next level this is. Inspired by Mountain Dew, the Kool-Aid Man would be so proud. Oh yeah! There's enough electrolytes in there to fuel you after a good workout at the gym. I wonder if he's running CO2. He probably doesn't need to. I mean, that algae growth is crazy. Anyways, welcome back to another episode of Fish Tank Review. As always, thank you guys so much for sending me your tanks, and I especially love the emails that have these stories to go along with it, and I read every single one of yours. But once again, I'll be putting a slideshow for the tanks that I don't get around to. Now, some of you in the comments below have been saying, why isn't my tank in your video? I hope it's in the next video. Yes, so when I edit and render my video and before I post it on YouTube, I've already gotten new submissions in my email, and that's why it's not included in the latest episode. It's probably going to be featured in the next episode. But because these submissions are truly getting quite numerous, I'm losing track of what's going on. I might have lost yours in the fray. But anyways, thank you guys for your continued patience. Let's get this episode rolling.
So we're starting off with a tank sent to me by Felix Hohaus. I really like the look of this tank. I love the wood and the
attached Java ferns, also the crypts, and the river rocks really accent the very clean substrate. This is a very nice and simple scape, and something that I would set up as well, complete with the black background. Now the stocking choice is a little ominous for me, and although this tank is 130 gallons, 3 single-tail goldfish might be a little questionable for some, but you know what, there has been way worse tanks that I've reviewed. At least you're giving these fish a fighting chance to thrive. This is not a small tank at all, and the scape is actually very, very nicely thought out and nicely put together. This is getting a 4.25. This tank is sent to me by Danny Bozek from Unboxed Lab. It's one of the more artificial tanks. I think the only real live plants are the Marimo moss balls. I do like the black substrate and the understocking of the fish. There's a lot of dissolved oxygen in the water as well. Healthy looking Rasboras, healthy looking Gourami. 3.5 out of 5. Kieran Palmer sent me this tank. Now he says he is a first-time tank owner or fish daddy. I see that you took the tips of the beginner plants, Java Fern Anubias, some Marimo moss ball, and I think the plant in the back is fake. I'm not really a big fan of the half hexagon shaped tanks, but you did a marvelous job, and with one betta it's got all the room it needs. I like the colors of this tank, and there's even a 3D background. The substrate color is pretty clean and nice as well. This is really good for a first-time fish owner. I know you've done quite a bit of research to reach this point. 3.5 out of 5, good job. Next fish tank is sent to me by Mevel9. This is a gorgeous tank. You've got an awesome carpet of, I think it's dwarf hairgrass, not exactly sure, and then just an assortment of plants that grow vertically up to cover the background. And you can tell there's been some trimming done and some maintenance. I love the textures. I love that there's a little cave in there that fish can hide in. It's slightly just a tad bit overstocked for my liking, and I probably stock it with some sort of schooling Tetra or Rasbora to get that extra clean look. Now you can see there's that CO2 diffuser over here, so this is a high-tech, high-maintenance tank, and it's definitely working. It looks really, really nice. 4.75, great job. Now Boris PL sent me this very interesting looking tank. I really like it actually. This is probably the first time I've seen something like this where the substrate is very clearly divided and using these similar looking rocks, which looks really, really nice. And I see that it's even more natural with a little bit of wood hanging on top. The background gives this tank a clean and textured look. I like the wood piece as well with the moss all over it. The surface of the water is covered by, I think that's duckweed and some maybe water sprite. Adds more mood to the lighting of the tank. And then there's a water pump that's shooting straight up with bubbles. That looks really cool. Again, not so sure with the stocking options. I see there's some glowfish. I think those are Danio. But you know what? Overall, really, really interesting and really awesome aquascape. 4.5 out of 5, great job. This tank is sent to me by Old Turtle. I think the email said it's a 55 gallon, something like that. I really like it. It is the typical discus / cardinal tetra tank. And you do have an angelfish in there, and I think an earth eater as well. It's set up with a basic aquascape with substrate and just some live plants. They might be Amazon swords of some species. There's an air pump in there, and I think that's a wave maker all the way on the other side. Now the tank looks a little bit murky, but I'm going to give my benefit of the doubt because you know with discus, they're really sensitive to water parameters and they're really like expensive fish, so you don't want to be messing around with that. Some people do a water change every day or at least 2 days. That might be why it's a little murky. They probably just finished doing a water change. 4.5 out of 5, good job. On to Reddit to see what kind of shenanigans we can find. Straight off the bat, we got this gem. Some guy trying to sell their itty bitty tank with 2 goldfish in there. I like how that goldfish is like, hey bro, we ain't gonna make it. We gonna die in here, man. And the other fish is just like, yeah, I'm dead inside already, man. I hope the next owner does a much better job. Now this tank is also inspired by Mountain Dew and kale smoothies. I don't know why there's a funnel in there. Actually, I don't even know if this is a fish tank. I really hope it's just some kind of kale smoothie. How can the algae problem get that bad? I don't know what happened here. There's like at least 5 layers of algae in there. Big yikes. Yeah, see, I told you guys this is the hottest trend in aquascaping. Look at that. This is Mountain Dew diet version. It's not as radioactive looking. It's got, you know, a little bit more water in there. Anyway, I'll stop making those jokes now. It's getting pretty old. Absolutely disgusting. Found on Jacksonville Craigslist. It's a 55 gallon fish tank, so, you know, it's not one of the dinky ones. However, when's the last time you did a water change? 2004?
one, and he's trying to sell this for $125. Who's gonna see that and like, I'm gonna pop 125 bucks on this thing. I need my electrolytes. Okay, I said no more of those jokes. 14 out of 457. Fish under observation. Temporarily not for sale. Sir, what are you observing here? I don't think anything's gonna change just by, observing the tank. I think you should actually sort these fish out and get rid of at least half of them. Yeah, there's Oscars, glowfish, goldfish, mollies. Oh, this is a tangallon. All right, yeah, this is amazing. I don't want to name any names, but this definitely looks like one of the bigger name brand pet stores. This is the biggest mess of a pet store fish tank I have ever seen. Not in my wildest dreams have I dreamt up these fish all coexisting together in one tank. I know diversity is important, but that's for like people, okay? You can't just be like, racism is dead, we need to end racism. That doesn't apply to fish, dude. That's it, I'm done with this before I get too triggered. Yeah, I love this caption. It seems to me like it's actually on display, so yeah, no one's going to be pooping in there and flushing. That's still pretty crappy. Get it? Okay. Those are probably goldfish, and this tank is definitely way too small. Wait a few months for those goldfish to get big, and then it'll just look absolutely ridiculous. As if it doesn't look incredibly ridiculous already. But you know what? 1 out of 5 for the SpongeBob.
Are you tired of always drinking boring, normal tap water? You know what they say, boring water, boring life. Well, not anymore. With your new beta filter, you are going to be living an exciting life again. And you know we can't do this all day, so call now and we'll include a second one for free to make sure you get your salmonella. Hey guys, welcome back to Fish for Thought. My name is Chris, your host for this channel. Today we're doing another fish tank review. But before we get started, I would like to bring your attention to my Patreon account. Please consider supporting me on Patreon. A couple dollars from you can mean a world of difference for me and will help push out way more content. Becoming one of my patrons means you also get early access to my videos, which means you can comment first, you can watch it first, all that good stuff. Thanks again, and also thank you guys very much for your submissions. I really did not miss any of you yet, but just hold on tight because there's a lot to cycle through. I'm catching up. Let's go.
Teaching the next generation. Oh my goodness, please don't tell me this is an art class project in elementary school. Oh, what are you doing? Do you study ecosystems? Yeah, I promise I'm not trying to brag or anything, but I actually have a bachelor's in ecological restoration, and there's massive issues with anyone trying to call those ecosystems or good representations of ecosystems. Frustrating. 0 out of 5. Let's go. Okay. Who in their right mind would think that amount of water will be enough for this turtle when it's not basking? And when it is basking, I don't even see a UVB light. They are basking turtles and they need to bask properly in UVB. That's how they're able to digest and incorporate calcium into their bodies. I don't even keep turtles and I know this. But yeah, 0 out of 5. Let's keep going. What my poor fish had to endure before I educated myself. Yeah, a really small tank and then a sculpture of a really creepy bald female lady with like a piece of poop on her shoulder. But you know what? I'm proud of you for doing what 100% of those other small tank beta people have. You overcame that, you educated yourself, and now your beta is doing much better. So congratulations. Whatever tank you have now, probably way better than a 0 out of 5. Hey guys, I found another version of that tank from 2 episodes ago. This time it's even fancier. The freaking filter is a faucet and you can even see the time. And of course we got our ghost fish all over this tank as well. I think we got more ghost fish. It's probably the fish from fish tanks past. Now the last time I made it very clear when I showed it that if it was significantly bigger, like 5 gallons bigger, it would be able to hold a betta because betta can live in 5+ gallons. And then a few of my more challenged viewers, a very small minority.
Wait, what are you saying, Chris? Are you saying that you could put goldfish in this tiny tank? I don't think so, pal. Dislike.
0 out of 5 for this tank. Let's go. Moving on to our subscriber submitted tanks. First of all, let's get this out of the way. Wendy sent this tank. It's her brother's tank, and she wanted me to make sure that her brother knows what he's doing here is wrong. Now, that little container is for at most transport of the fish, or more commonly for a cricket container or some other insect container. These goldfish will get super big. I think these are single-tail goldfish, which means they need even more space. So Wendy's brother, if you're watching, please know that this is not the right way to do things. Trust me, it's much more fun if you do it the right way. This tank is from Azai's1. Now in the email he said that he did not like the decor that I came with, it was artificial, and then he fixed it up. Now I really like how he fixed it up. There are live plants in between the rocks, and there are more plants in the background. The tank is very understocked. I think there's a little pleco over there that might grow bigger, but it looks like an albino dwarf species. There's a few live bearers here and there, but for the most part, it's perfectly stocked for a tank this size. It's got live plants, good lighting, all the fixins of a great tank. Good job for improving this tank. 3.5 out of 5 for the design. Awesome tank here by Richard Higgins. Thanks for sending this tank over. We got some really nice plants here and there. The hydrocaudo in the foreground that's gonna keep rising up to the surface. He's probably going to trim it back. The substrate looks really pretty and nutritious. The stones are perfectly placed, showcasing the best sides of it and creating more depth to the tank. Also like the short-tailed betta, very great tank. 4.5 out of 5, good job. Now this is a video sent to me by TB Aquatics. A pretty big tank for the amount of stocking there is. I think it's quite perfectly maxed out for the stocking if you want a lower maintenance tank. The fish all look very healthy. There's a bit of live plants, but there's definitely fake decor in here, which is not that big of an issue. Design wise, it's knocking the score down a little bit, but you got the air stone, you got filter heaters, everything is perfectly fine. 3.75 out of 5, great job. Now this is Tucker MC's tank. Thanks for sending this in. It's really nice scape. Now in the email, it said that this is his second tank. I see that your sword there is about to flower. You got some Java fern. Careful that you don't bury the rhizomes into the substrate. They can root themselves. If you don't let them root themselves, they might start rotting. Yeah, this is a great scape for a second scape. Like my second tank, I was not even close. I really like the path that you made with the little flat slates. Now I encourage you to check out more aquascapes and try to learn more of the techniques that are used in the trade. It's also a very good idea to try to fill out the back of your tank as well. 4 out of 5, great job. Now guess who's getting our 5 out of 5 for this episode? It's Vera Van Den Hendy. Sorry, that was probably a 0 out of 5 pronunciation of your name. The discus are huge and they're healthy, vibrant colors. This definitely has a lot of maintenance, but you know what? This bow front is so beautiful. It's perfectly maintained. The plants are lush. They're amazingly grown in. There's a whole variety of them. The texture is great. I see a log piece in the back that really ties everything together. It's always great to see a natural scape for a discus tank. And Vera, if you're watching, if you don't mind, can you send me a video or link a video that you have up on YouTube of this tank? I would like to see it. Not going to guarantee I would include it in a fish tank review, but you know, just for my own viewing pleasure. Thanks. Alright, first of all, Shannon, this is an amazing tank. This is your second month in this hobby, and you have really outdone yourself. I like the atmospheric lighting with the floaters up top, and then you got carpeting plants, you got 2 types of substrate going on, really clean look with the real wood, and then some moss attached to that as well. That's pretty advanced there. Marima moss ball and a nice big sword in the back. Not to mention you got this cute little betta. Your awesome boyfriend Jason sent me this tank. He was impressed by your aquascaping skills as a novice fish keeper. I'm giving this a 4 out of 5, but as you constantly improve, I'm sure you'll be at a 5 out of 5 in no time. Now we got this little bunch of coolie loaches just trying to tuck themselves away as much as possible. Sardines minus their can. Ah yes, the sardine can. A coolie's perfect habitat. Kind of looks like they are screaming. Probably all yelling at the dummy who went in upside down. Ooh, look, a penny. Me. Can we go to the aquarium to see gardeneos? Parents, no, we have gardeneos at home. Gardeneos at home. Noodle plant. Just throw some root tabs in there and watch them grow. Stuffed water nudes. Still better than Mr. Noodles. Yes, that's true. They're hiding. If you add a few hiding places, they will feel safer and less stressed. Yes, but unfortunately this is the store I work at. There are a couple caves in there, but once we start adding a bunch more hides and cover it, becomes significantly more difficult to catch fish, so hopefully they sell quick and go to a good home. Well, that's kind of sad. Hope they make it. Now I'm gonna have my plug while the slideshow is going on. Shout out to my awesome patrons, Cranium Rex, Daniel Thomas, and also Corvus Austin. If you haven't heard of Corvus yet, go check out his YouTube channel. Basically every question that you have about fish, this guy has already figured it out. He's a wealth of knowledge and amazing free resource for everyone. For anyone else trying to show some additional support for this channel, Patreon is one of the best ways that you can do that. A couple dollars from you every month is going to impact me a lot. Plus you get early access to videos and
and shoutouts. Now for those who are wondering, where is my tank? I emailed you a few days ago or weeks ago and I still haven't seen it. Well, worry not, because I'm going through all of them. You guys be sending me emails that say like, I love your content, Chris. Please include my tank in your videos. How can I say no to any of that? Even if you don't put anything else in the email except for the picture of your tank, I will still include that for sure. But it will take some time because I'm like 190 emails behind right now. It's gonna take additional patience on your end. Thank you for being patient already. I'm just going in order of who sent it first. It's only fair, right? Anyways, without further ado, let's get right into the video.
All right, this gorgeous tank is sent to me by Krista Yan, I think, Apostolowski. I hope I pronounced that right. I think the J there makes the Y sound. Anyway, I really enjoyed this rimless tank. It's pretty clean, and the star of the show here is undoubtedly that really nice looking betta. 4 out of 5, let's go. Alright, Darren Stockman sent this one in. This is a 29 gallon planted, but with fake plants. That's a bit unfortunate, but I really like how you kept it like as natural as you can. You might be able to fool a few people saying that these are life plants and they might not know the difference. So as far as artificial goes, this is quite natural on the artificial side, but it doesn't have any of the benefits that real plants actually do have, especially for fish that are dirty like goldfish. But you did your research. 2 goldfish in a 29 gallon, definitely doable. I know I said that I'm not going over a 3 out of 5 for artificial tanks, but I mean, come on, he got the ratio for goldfish right. That's very impressive. The 3.5 out of 5. This tank sent to me by Colleen Philo. This is a 40 gallon guppy breeder. It looks pretty nice. Got the cholla wood over there, crypts going crazy in the front, anubias everywhere, and then we got this awesome looking centerpiece, tiger lotus. That is the most impressive thing in this tank right now. It was trimmed back to keep short and then let grown tall, so you got like both variations of the leaves. I need one of these in my tank soon. It's one of my favorite plants and I miss it a lot. Just try to keep the lights in check as I see some algae growth on the anubias. I'm struggling with that myself, so I know what a challenge it can be. 4 out of 5. This one's from Vulcan Plays. Now, I wasn't going to review this tank, but then it really caught my eye because of the totally black betta. It might just be the lighting that is totally black, but it's close to it. And although the tank is not dirty, it definitely is lacking a bit more light because the Java moss, you can see that it's a little bit like graying out, kind of dying back a little bit. It's not too happy, but the whole mood of the tank kind of fits in with the theme with the betta. And then we got these fish that accent the whole scape, the ember tetra. I would suggest more lights to, you know, flare up the colors of the Java moss and maybe fill the water level higher. You're just losing out on real estate for the fish, really. Like if this was a 10 gallon, now it's like 7 gallons. So 3.5 out of 5. This overgrown tank is from Omer Iqbal. I love overgrown tanks. I like it when there's a change up in the aquascape. You can tell that he has been trimming them still, which is still great. You're doing maintenance on your tank, that's awesome. The Vallisneria is poking everywhere. The textures are crazy. This water wisteria here is a little bit suffering though. It's like, oh gosh, I can't compete with any of these other plants. This massive sword is like sucking all the nutrients away. Wisteria rescue, please. 4.25 out of 5, let's go. All right, sometimes I get really nice typical tanks, and then I get really awesome innovative tanks, and this would be a very innovative tank. I've been very attracted to paludariums or like aquariums that aren't fully aquatic aquariums, and this one hits the spot. It's even got a mini fog machine, so you know it's like serious business. It's accented by the branches. It's perfect. It's got some floating plants over there. It's got some terrestrial plants growing on the side in the filter, helping the filtration. The scape underwater is no joke either. Honestly, this is a tank I aspire to make in the future. It's getting my 5 out of 5. Oh, and I almost forgot to give credit to Terry Thompson, who sent this tank. Very good job, Terry. Oh my goodness. Let me check with my producer if I can just skip this one. Can I skip this one? You're allowed to skip if you want. Can I skip this one? I guess I can't skip 2 in a row. But actually looking at this tank and just thinking for a minute, like the substrate looks clean and it's suspiciously similar to a blackwater biotope. So I'm not sure if that's what's happening here. Blackwater biotopes release healthy tannins and are actually really good for tetras, especially. Oh, but there's actually goldfish in there. So I'm guessing it's not okay. Those aren't tannins. It's probably because you haven't done a water change for like ever. No good, bro. 0 out of 5. Way too small for a Berta fish tank, $7. Next. Man, why you gotta do me like this? Goldfish again? If they get any bigger, they're not gonna be able to even fit through the little hole on the
top, like you'll never get them out. Well, I'm already being optimistic. Those goldfish probably will die before that. I don't see a filter in there. But okay, let me be clear, all right? If it's not a goldfish, if it's not a betta, and then you can even plant this tank more thoroughly with, you know, some floaters, some elodia to extract the nitrates and ammonia from the water, then this lamp tank would be actually quite nice. You put some shrimp in there, maybe even some nanofish. You could create a closed system successfully. If you understock it by a huge margin, it could actually work out. But nope, owner decided to put goldfish in there.
Don't forget to get your hands wet.